So you're thinking of moving to the Oklahoma City area, but as usual, you're feeling a little bit stuck about which suburb is the right fit for you. And you've probably heard all the big names, even on this channel. You've got your Edmond, Yukon, Norman, but here's the thing, if those are the only ones you're considering, it's possible you could be making a pretty big mistake, because there's actually several lesser known suburbs out here that very few people mention that could be exactly what you're looking for. These hidden gems have many of the perks of the more popular spots, but with, I don't know, a little more unique charm, and without the heavy traffic, the crowded schools, and some of these actually have some great home prices. By the end of this video, you just might find the perfect match that you didn't even know existed. So stick around, because I'm going to reveal where they are and why they're worth a closer look. Thanks so much for joining me here today. On this channel, I talk about all things Oklahoma City and its surrounding suburbs, and as I've mentioned before, there are many. With nearly 1.4 million people living across this ever-sprawling metro area, pretty much everybody feels overwhelmed trying to find the right place to call home. Today, though, we're gonna get crazy and we're not gonna focus on those big-name suburbs. Nope, we don't follow the rules today. We're diving right into these hidden gems like the rebels that we are. Am I right?
Jonathan, get in here!
What's that, honey? No, I know it's dinner time. No, I'll be right there, I promise. Give me just a few minutes, honey bun.
Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the Oklahoma City suburbs that nobody's talking about that absolutely deserve your attention. But first, if you're thinking of moving to the Oklahoma City area, whether it's in the next few weeks or few months from now, I would absolutely love the opportunity to help make a smooth move right here to OKC. You're gonna find my contact information in the description below, so please feel free to shoot me a call, a text, or an email. Or even better, click the link below to schedule a one-on-one video call with me so that we can discuss how I can help you buy that perfect home right here in OKC. Now, let's hop into these lesser known OKC spots. First up, Piedmont. A quiet, close-knit community located just about 20 minutes northwest of Oklahoma City. With a population of around 8,000 people, this suburb offers a great combination of that rural vibe with close proximity to the city. So you could say it really does offer residents the best of both worlds. Piedmont is known for its spacious homes, its quality schools, and plenty of community events that make it really perfect for families, especially those looking for a bit more room without feeling like you have to sacrifice convenience. Now, let's talk about some quick pros of Piedmont. Homes definitely tend to be a little bit larger on larger lots out there. So if you're wanting space for a garden or a workshop, or just simply want to be a little bit further from your neighbors, Piedmont definitely has you covered. Another pro is going to be the strong sense of community. You've got that small town charm and plenty of community events that make it easy to feel at home. And another pro of Piedmont is they've got pretty great schools. The Piedmont School District is definitely a highly rated school here in the Oklahoma City metro. So as you might imagine, that's going to make it a pretty attractive choice for families. Now, let's talk about a couple cons. Piedmont homes are going to be a little more expensive on average than Oklahoma City, with a median price point right around $320,000 versus right around $260,000 in Oklahoma City. But to be fair, this does fall in line with the generally larger homes and larger lots. And another con worth mentioning is that you are going to have somewhat limited amenities, so while you will find some local shops and restaurants, you'll probably want to go into Oklahoma City for a little more options. Now, let's head over to Choctaw, which is a small suburb located just to the east of Oklahoma City. Choctaw is going to be another community that has a pretty good blend of that rural charm, but it's close enough to Oklahoma City that you still get access to suburban amenities. With right around 12,000 people living in Choctaw, it's definitely going to be known more for that rural feel, but also known for its very friendly people. Now, let's hop into a couple pros of Choctaw. It's a little more serene and scenic than a lot of suburbs in OKC. And that tends to be more true on the east side of the Oklahoma City metro, at least the further out that you go. So with lots of green space and natural beauty, Choctaw really is perfect for those who want a more peaceful environment. And as I mentioned before, you do get a little bit of that perfect blend. Located only about 25 minutes from Oklahoma City, it's really not a bad commute, but it's kind of just far enough that you still feel like you have a quieter lifestyle, if that makes sense. And another pro similar to that of Piedmont is that you tend to get homes that are going to be on larger lots, so it tends to be pretty ideal for those who want a little more space for gardening or just outdoor activities. Let's talk about a couple of cons. If you're someone who craves a bustling social scene or, a walkable Starbucks, you probably aren't going to find Choctaw to feel too accommodating. Another con worth mentioning is you are going to find a little bit higher price points to that of Oklahoma City. Actually, much like Piedmont, the median price for a home is right around $320,000, so certainly more expensive than Oklahoma City. But again, the lot sizes allow for a little more room room to breathe, and for many, that's worth it. So if you like the idea of being able to see the stars clearly, instead of your neighbor's mulch moon from 15 feet away, well, Choctaw might be a great alternative to Oklahoma City. Located about 40 minutes south of OKC, Purcell is known to its residents as the heart of Oklahoma. And I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a bold statement, but I'm gonna let it slide. Now, Purcell is a smaller town of around 7,000 residents, and it really is a pretty tight-knit community with a lot of rich history. So let's dig into a couple pros. Once again, it's a lot easier to find homes with a little bit larger lots. However, they're a lot more affordable in Purcell than you'll find in many other suburbs, with a median price point of around $235,000, which is actually less than that of Oklahoma City. Now, obviously, if you want to get a home on a really large lot that's fully updated, that already has a workshop, it's going to be a little more. But it's perfect for those who maybe want to get a larger lot and build a workshop and, have more yard space to have backyard barbecues. Another pro is that Purcell is another one of these suburbs with a small town atmosphere. It really is known for its welcoming, friendly residents. So it's kind of perfect for those looking for that small town traditional lifestyle. And another pro worth mentioning is that even though it is a little bit further out from Oklahoma City than several of these suburbs on this list, it's got very close proximity to Norman. So you still do get some of those perks of having a bigger city nearby, even though you're definitely in a small town. Now, a couple of cons, as I sort of just mentioned, is that it's definitely a little further out from Oklahoma City. If having about a 40-minute drive from downtown Oklahoma City is a deal breaker for you, well, then it's worth knowing it's a little bit further out. But if you're someone who doesn't mind the drive, and many don't, then it may just be the perfect suburb. And yet again, another con worth mentioning is that there's just going to be fewer amenities in the town. So for a good variety of shopping, dining, and entertainment, Norman's probably going to be your best bet. And you may be noticing a trend that tends to come along with some of these lesser-known suburbs. Let's talk about Bethany, which is a suburb that sits just to the west of Oklahoma City. It's one of the more centrally located suburbs on this list, so it offers residents easier access to the city, but still kind of maintains that neighborhood feel. And Bethany is a little bit larger than those we've mentioned to this point, with around 20,000 residents. Now, fun fact for those of you who are interested, Bethany's actually the town that I grew up in. So let's talk about some quick pros. Bethany has a more mature, kind of settled vibe, so you've got plenty of tree-lined streets and established neighborhoods. And another pro that I've kind of alluded to is you've got the convenience of the proximity to Oklahoma City. With only about a 15-minute drive into downtown Oklahoma City, it kind of makes commuting a breeze, if you work downtown or just need to go downtown for fun. You're never too far from the action. And it's worth mentioning that while Bethany is a smaller suburb, it's certainly not rural like the others we've mentioned to this point. And another thing I would definitely consider as a pro of Bethany is it's got those kind of charming local spots. You've got those classic small town local shops, cafes, and plenty of parks that really kind of give that small town feel. And downtown Bethany runs right along the old Route 66, so it kind of has that classic American small town vibe. Now, let's discuss a couple of cons. Many of the properties you'll find are going to need some updates, but it also kind of gives you the opportunity to add your own touch. But I'm actually going to throw out a bonus pro of Bethany that it actually has the lowest priced homes on this list. And for context, the median home price in Bethany is right around $185,000. But another thing you may consider a con is that there's going to be probably limited growth in Bethany at this point. Being a well-established suburb really just means that new developments are going to be less common. And with that means you're probably going to find less cool spots just popping up like we're seeing all over the rest of the metro. But if you end up living there, you can tell everyone you meet that Jonathan from YouTube told you about it. And I can say with confidence that nobody will know who you're talking about. And I've come to terms with that. Okay, Nichols Hills is where luxury meets convenience. Known for its beautiful tree-lined streets and upscale properties, it really is one of the most affluent areas of the Oklahoma City metro. It's also a very small community considering that it's actually located in the northwest quadrant of the city. And by small, I mean a population of only 4,000 residents. Now let's talk about a couple pros. If you're looking for a luxurious lifestyle, Nichols Hills is the place. The properties really are stunning. It's nothing but very well-maintained homes and lush green yards, the kind that are like putting greens. This is where you're going to find doctors and lawyers living, and even Oklahoma City Thunder players, past and present. Another pro of Nichols Hills is that it's pretty much close to everything. It's pretty centrally located. You're really only minutes away from OKC's best shopping, dining, and entertainment options, and you're only 15 minutes from downtown Oklahoma City. Another pro that you might expect to find in an affluent area like this is the high-end amenities, boutique shopping, and even a very nice golf course in the community. Now, let's talk about a couple of cons. As I'm sure none of you will find surprising, Turns out luxury comes at a cost. Homes in Nichols Hills are actually some of the most expensive that you'll find in the metro. And by that I mean the median price point in Nichols Hills is right around $750,000. Now, it doesn't stop there. These homes can go well into the mid 2 millions. Although, I guess I should say I'm well aware that that pretty much only buys a 2-bedroom condo and a meal at In-N-Out if you're in LA. And kind of along the same lines, but another con is that there's just less diversity in pricing. And by that I mean there's really no budget-friendly options. Yeah, there's a range from $750,000 upwards of close to $3 million, but you'll be hard-pressed to find really anything under about $500,000. Well, except maybe the outskirts you'll find in the 400s, but that's kind of like the Village light. Speaking of, the Village is a small but vibrant community located right next to Nichols Hills. And not quite as small as Nichols Hills, but there's a population of just over 9,000 people. So if you're looking for a cozy neighborhood vibe with great access to the rest of the city, the Village is going to be a great choice. And I can say that with confidence because another fun fact, the Village has been my home for the last 20 years. So let's talk about a couple pros. You're only minutes away from shopping, dining, and entertainment that you can find both in Nichols Hills and Oklahoma City. And you're located right near Lake Hefner, and just like Nichols Hills, you're only about 15 minutes from downtown Oklahoma City. Another pro of the Village is definitely the neighborhood charm. It's definitely got a classic suburban feel where walking through the neighborhood, you're probably going to chat with some of your neighbors and see plenty of people walking their dogs. And certainly a pro of the Village is its charming and affordable homes. From charming bungalows to mid-century homes, they all have really great unique character. And speaking to affordability, the median price point here in the Village is right around $225,000. But let's talk about a couple of cons. The first con being that you're going to find mostly older and smaller homes here. So if you're looking for something big and expansive, this probably is just not the spot for you. And the only other con I can really think of is you're not going to find any new home communities here. Being a much more mature community, there's really just nowhere to put new developments. But a bonus pro, let's be neighbors. Just please don't be weird. Newcastle is just right across the Canadian River from Oklahoma City, and even though it's been growing pretty quickly, it's still maintaining some of that small town feel. The town has a population of around 15,000 people, but for context, in 2020, there was only around 11,000 people living in Newcastle. So let's talk about some pros. As I mentioned, it's rapidly growing, so Newcastle has seen a ton of development recently, and this means more options for new homes and amenities. And Newcastle has a good balance of suburban and rural. You do still kind of get that charm of a small town, but you've got shopping centers and restaurants popping up here and there. Another pro I think is worth mentioning is that it's close to both Oklahoma City and Norman. With only a 20 to 25 minute drive to either city, it kind of gives you some versatile options. Now, a couple of quick cons. Rapid growth, as you can imagine, can lead to increasing traffic. So if you've lived in this town for a while, you can imagine that traffic is really growing pretty rapidly. But it's also worth noting that if you're moving from a major city, you probably would think it's silly to think that the traffic is crazy there. It is, after all, relative. And I suppose another con worth mentioning is that there is just ongoing development. Construction may be more prevalent in certain areas with new neighborhoods, but it's kind of all just part of the growth. Now, maybe this list has you thinking of the more major popular suburbs because you've decided there are way too many cow pastures in these towns. And if that's you, well, I promise you, you definitely want to check out this video right here. And as always, guys, until next time, I certainly hope to OK. See you soon. See ya.